Hey folks, welcome back. I have your latest home prices and insights for the City of Toronto for week ending September 28th, 2022. There's so much drama in real estate. A couple months back, I had mentioned that we were working with a buyer client. We had put in an offer on a detached property in Toronto, and we negotiated back and forth quite a bit, and we finally reached an accepted conditional agreement. Now, the offer was conditional on home inspection. So we did our home inspection, and our home inspector uncovered problems that were pretty serious. Through our research, finding out, what's this going to cost to repair, we figured it was going to cost between $20,000 to $30,000 of repairs to bring the home up to a level of safety that our client would be comfortable with. So at this point, because we're sold conditional, our client has three choices. He can accept it and just say, okay, I'll do the repairs. He could walk away and say, no, this is too much. I don't want the house anymore. Or we could renegotiate. And that's what we chose to do. We chose to renegotiate. And we told the seller, say, listen, here's the situation. Here's what our home inspector uncovered. Here's what we figured through our research it's going to cost to repair. This is serious. It needs to be done. But the seller wasn't having it, did not want to renegotiate no matter how much we tried. We were being, what I thought, reasonable, and we were trying to, find some common ground. Seller wasn't having it, and so we ended up walking away. And about a month after that, the listing agent calls me and says, Santo, listen, I know we couldn't put the deal together a month ago, but resubmit the offer. The seller's a little bit more open-minded now. Well, we had bought already another property for our buyer client, and so we weren't going to resubmit an offer. And I told him that. I said, it's too late. We bought another property. And he says, that's unfortunate because the seller is a lot more reasonable now, and he really, really, really needs to sell. Well, fast forward to today. That property's had multiple price reductions, and what it's listed at now is slightly lower than what we were trying to renegotiate for. Now, this is not to say that we predicted the market properly. This is to say we were being reasonable in trying to, reach a common ground, but the seller just wasn't having it. And especially the condition that the home is in, it's almost certain, I can't guarantee, but almost certain that any kind of offer coming in is going to have a home inspection condition. And if it's a competent home inspector, they're going to uncover the same problems that we uncovered. So this seller now who has to sell is put themselves in a position where they're going to have to negotiate even much lower than where they're listed at now. Look, we all are responsible and live and die by the decisions we make every single day. That's the drama of real estate. More precisely, that's the drama of real estate in a declining market. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. Let's get into the numbers. If you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you. This way, I'll know ahead of time. I'll make sure my schedule's organized so we can talk about whatever's on your mind. Toronto real estate, it's messy out there. What's going through your mind? I mean, you're seeing properties sitting on the market, not selling, price reductions still sitting. Then other properties get listed, sold immediately, some with multiple offers. different parts of Toronto are being affected differently. It's messy and it's difficult to figure out what's going on sometimes. Let's go through the numbers. Let me explain what I'm seeing out there as a full-time realtor in the field. Here we have City of Toronto for detached properties only, broken down by week for a year. Average sold price has come way down versus the previous week. So the previous week we were more than 1.7 million as an average sold price. This week we're down to 1,518,000. Huge difference from one week to the next. Sales, well, we're in the fall market. We're expecting sales to go up. They didn't. Sales came down from 133 detached properties sold this past week. For week ending September 28th, we sold 106 detached properties. The amount of properties selling at $2 million or more, to me, is the real story here, the catalyst for a lot of these fluctuations here. The previous week we sold 37 detached properties at $2 million or more. This last week, only 16, less than half. So for sure, that plays a huge factor in the fact that average sold price has come way down. Well, also, let's look at it from this point of view. The blue is last year's average sold price. This time last year, average sold price was increasing every single week. Not so much this year. Average sold price has come way down. But look, this year we sold 16 properties at $2 million or more. Last year, the same time, 71 properties at $2 million or more. How do you compete to last year's numbers this way? Well, we're not. We're 17% lower average sold price this year versus last year. When we look at the median price, well, the median price is $1,302,000, and that's 8% lower than last year's median price. So going back to the previous slide just for a second, where we're talking about 71 properties sold at $2 million or more, and this year only 16. I could tell you that, yeah, there's a huge difference there. But some of these luxury properties and some of the higher end, higher priced properties, there's a lot of room to play with price, and we're seeing prices coming down. But in the lower end, in the 800, 900, 1.1, 1.2 million, 1.5 million, many times, lots of competition. There's not a big movement in price anymore. This is what I'm experienced from listing these properties and from working with buyers trying to buy these properties. Not a lot of price movement anymore. There has been over the course of the year, not so much anymore. The luxury market is a different story. We are seeing a big movement in price. Okay, so sales year to date, again, just for detached properties, 30% fewer sales this year to date versus last year. Of the 106 that did sell, 31% sold at list price or more, so less than a third. This time last year, 73% were selling at list price or more. It's a different world. It's a different world this year versus last year. Listings year to date, we have 8% fewer listings this year to date versus last year. Active listings is down. So we had less sales week over week. We've had fewer listings now week over week, and active listings, the amount of listings available for sale, is down. Months of inventory is sitting at 2.8. It's up a little bit from the previous week. So 2.8 months of inventory. Average days on market is 17, and average sold price is $1,518,000. That's for all of the city of Toronto, not the suburbs. There's no York region or Mississauga, nothing like that, just the city of Toronto. Let's break Toronto down a little bit between central, west, and east. So average sold prices are down across the board when we break Toronto down into three sections. Here's a close-up of West Toronto. Sales relatively unchanged from the previous week. It's down by one. 42 detached properties were sold. 4 of those were at $2 million or more. The previous week was 9, so we went from 9 down to 4. Average sold price took a big hit from one week to the next. Average sold price in West Toronto is $1,358,000. So that's 8% lower than last year's average sold price. Median price of $1.2 million is also 8% lower than last year's median price. The dotted line here, that's the 4-week moving average. It helps eliminate the peaks and the valleys, and you kind of have an easier time of trying to figure out what the trend is for those numbers. Months of inventory for West Toronto sitting at 2.8 months of inventory. It's the same as it was the previous week. Average days on market is up a little bit. It's now at 21 days on market. Here's Central Toronto. 26 detached properties were sold. 10 of those were at $2 million or more. You're thinking 24 are sold, 10 at $2 million. Wow, that's a big percentage of the overall sales. I would agree with that. However, the previous week we sold 24 properties at $2 million or more. This week, week ending September 28th, only 10. Well, average sold prices come way down from $2,463,000 the previous week. And the previous week before that, we were almost at 2.6. Average sold price now for Central Toronto is $2,122,000. $2,122,000 is a whopping 22% lower than last year's average sold price, and the median price is way down. Median price is now $1,673,000, which is 32% lower than last year's median price. It's the luxury market that's causing this big mess. Months of inventory sitting at 4.3, very much in a balanced market situation, but it's going to feel very much like a buyer's market in a lot of situations out there. Here's East Toronto. So 38 detached properties were sold, so sales are down in East Toronto. 2 of those were at $2 million or more. It's half of the previous week as far as properties selling at $2 million or more, but it's not a big difference. We went from 4 to 2. Yes, half, 50%, but it's only two fewer properties. So that's why average sold price is not affected that much. Average sold price is down from the previous week, but not by much. It's sitting now at $1,282,000. $1,282,000 is 9% lower than last year's average sold price. Again, this is just for East Toronto. Median price is 4% lower than last year's median price. Median price for East Toronto is sitting pretty close to the average sold price. Median price is $1,255,000. If we look at the last, say, 4 to 6 weeks, it looks like, and we look at the 4-week moving average, pretty clear that it seems that prices are going up in East Toronto. And if you're doing any kind of business, looking to sell or looking to buy in East Toronto, you'll see, I'm personally working with buyers in East Toronto. You'll see that lots of competition, lots of properties being sold with offers on offer night. It's still a bit aggressive out there. Months of inventory, although it's going up, it's still relatively low, sitting at 1.8 months of inventory. And sold at list price or more, 45%, so close to half of properties are selling at list price or more. Here's a quick summary. Have a look at that. So East Toronto normally has the highest sales, although it didn't this week, but it normally does. It's got the lowest average sold price. It normally has, which it does this week, the highest amount of property selling at list price or more, the lowest days on market, and the lowest months of inventory. That's East Toronto, which is East York, Beaches, Scarborough, East Toronto. Okay, so let's take a close look at semis here. 49 semis were sold. 6 of those were at $1.5 million or more. Average sold price has been going up for a couple weeks in a row now. Average sold price for semis is sitting at $1,227,000, 1,227,000 is 8% lower than last year's average sold price, and the median price of 1,031,000 is 12% lower than last year's median price. Months of inventory down a little bit, down by 0.1. It's now sitting at 1.2 months of inventory, and half of those 49 semis that were sold, 45% sold, so almost half sold at list price or more. Townhouse, it's really tough to talk about townhouses, and these are freehold townhouses. What I say by it's tough, I mean it's really hard to put a lot of onus on the numbers, just because sales are so low. 14 freehold townhouses were sold, only 14. So 1 or 2 or 3 luxury sales just really skew the numbers there. So 3 of those townhouses sold at $1.5 million or more. Average sold price has shot way up to $1,390,000. $1,390,000 is 12% higher than last year's average sold price at this time, and median price is 3% higher than last year's median price. Months of inventory has come down, sitting now at 1.6 months of inventory. And even though only 14 freehold townhomes were sold, half of those sold at list price or more. Let's take a close look at condos here. So sales went up a little bit. Condos is a different world than the detached or the freehold market. 171 condos were sold. 23 of those were at $1 million or more. So when I'm talking about the freehold market, and I'm talking about especially the detached market, where so many fewer luxury properties were sold, not so much in the condo market. We had the same. 23 condos were sold at $1 million or more. That's what it was the previous week. The previous week before that, it was 20, then 16, then 14. So it looks like luxury condo sales are actually going up. So 23 condos were sold at $1 million or more. 171 total condos were sold. Average sold price came down a bit. It's now sitting at $763,000. Well, 763 is rounded. There's no percentage difference versus last year's average sold price, but there's a slight difference. It's 0.3% higher than last year's average sold price for condos. And median price is 1.2% higher than last year's median price. Median price is $673,000. If we look at the 4-week moving average, well, for the average sold price, it looks like average sold price is going up. For the median price, it's pretty steady, although it's creeping down slightly. You could barely notice how over the last 4 to 6 weeks it's been creeping down. But nonetheless, it's pretty steady. Year-to-date sales, we have 31% fewer condo sales this year versus last year. 26 of those 171 condos were sold at list price or more. Last year, 51% were selling at list price or more. Listings, we have 8% fewer listings this year versus last year. And like the freehold market, active listings has come down quite a bit. Active listings is the amount of properties actually available for sale at the end of the period. Months of inventory sitting at 3.4. So months of inventory has come down. 23 days is the average days on market. Here's a summary of months of inventory. You know, you really got to focus on what's whether you're looking to sell, you're looking to buy, what you're looking to do, what area, the home type, the price point, because these are averages for the whole areas. But, you know, what you're looking to do as far as real estate wise is really going to be very, very personal to you as far as your neighborhood, price, home type. So it's very important you're working with somebody that can guide you through this. Use this as a guide to get a good general understanding, but you really need to be more precise when you're actually looking to be active in this market. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.